Hey, hello, hi friends. Welcome to my channel Space for Youth Initiative, and today's topic is I for India, I for ISRO. Having spoken of what it is to be an Indian, let us now see what this I for ISRO means to me. You can see one of my photographs wearing the Indian traditional dress, which makes me feel very proud and happy, and thus I am sharing this with you. Here in this part, I will try to cover the second half, that is I for ISRO. I will share insights of ISRO, the organization, and some of the programs. Let us now have a look at the organization of Department of Space. So here you see the Department of Space, of which ISRO is a part of. It reports to the Prime Minister of the nation. In between, there is a governing body of Space Commission, which looks into the interests of the country. Under the Department of Space, you have a couple of autonomous bodies. The PRL, which stands for Physical Research Laboratory, located at Ahmedabad. This institution has been created by the father of Indian space program, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, and hence is considered to be the cradle of ISRO. The PRL works for the fields of astronomy, astrophysics, and interplanetary missions. The NARL, the National Atmospheric Research Laboratory, is located close to Tirupati in Andhra Pradesh. NARL has a major MST radar which sounds the meospheric, stratospheric, and tropospheric regions of the atmosphere. The Northeast Space Application Center is located at Shillong, and it works for the 8 northeastern states to ensure that the applications of space benefits the region. Also, it helps in capacity building of manpower. The IIST, Indian Institute of Space Technology, is located at Thiruvananthapuram. This is a institution which provides education for graduate, postgraduate, PhD, and postdoc in the field of space technology. The InSpace is a new center to provide private enterprises and handhold startups. It will help them to use the existing facilities of ISRO. The Central Public Sector Enterprises, under which Antrix is a Government of India owned private limited company. It started in 1992 and is engaged in providing space products and services to international customers. The NSIL is a Government of India undertaking under Department of Space, started in February 2020. It is responsible for owning satellites, providing satellite-based services, building satellites and launch vehicles, and launching them through industry. It will also look into the technology transfer to the private industries. Here we have the Isro Council. It is the internal governing body of ISRO and the directors of major centers of ISRO are members, and it is chaired by the chairman of ISRO and secretary, Department of Space. So under ISRO, you can see the various centers which are working in their respective specializations, starting with VSSC, Vikram Sarabhai Space Center. It is located in Thiruvananthapuram and is in Kerala, and is responsible for developing the launch vehicle technology. The LPSC, Liquid Propulsion System Center, is also located in Thiruvananthapuram and is responsible for designing and realizing the propulsion systems, both earth storable and cryogenic propulsion. The SDSC, Satish Dhawan Space Center, is located at Sriharikota in Andhra Pradesh. SDSC is the only launching center. It provides the infrastructure for launching the vehicle assembly prior to that, also responsible for manufacturing the solid rocket motors, the S200, S139, and of which S200 is the third largest motor in the world. It also has facilities for testing the solid rocket motor on ground and other environmental tests. The URSC UR Rao Satellite Center is located in Bengaluru, and it's responsible for designing, development, integration of all satellites of ISRO. The Space Applications Center, this is located at Ahmedabad. The SAC, the Space Applications Center, is responsible for the satellite-based and airborne instruments and payloads for all Indian satellites. Also looks into the applications of space for national development and societal applications. Then we have the NRSC, the National Remote Sensing Center, located at Hyderabad, Telangana. NRSC is responsible for data acquisition of all Indian satellites, remote sensing satellites, and foreign satellites. It processes the data and dissemination of these products to the nation. The Human Space Flight Center, which is the newest of all the centers, is located in Bengaluru and is responsible for human space flight and will be responsible for the Gaganyaan program. The IPRC, ISRO Propulsion Research Complex, is located at Mahendragiri in Tamil Nadu. It is responsible for integration and testing of both earth storable and cryogenic engines and propulsion systems. The IISU, the ISRO Inertial Systems Unit, it is located close to Trivandrum. It is responsible for the design and development, manufacture of gyros and other systems for the launch vehicles and satellites. The ISRO Tracking, Telemetry and Command Network, it headquarters in Bangalore. It has ground stations in Lucknow, Sriharikota, Trivandrum, Bangalore, Port Blair and Mauritius, and also has stations in Indonesia. It's responsible for providing tracking telemetry support to launch vehicles during liftoff, and also has mission operations center for all the remote sensing satellites. Further, it has also got the mission center for interplanetary space and data centers. The MCF is located in close to Bangalore in Hassan. MCF stands for Master Control Facility. It is responsible for the mission operations of all geostationary and navigational satellites of ISRO. Initially, soon after liftoff, it is responsible for orbit raising, in-orbit testing, and on-orbit operations for the total life of the geostationary satellites. It does the station keeping. Also has a center located at Bhopal. DECU is located in Ahmedabad. It is responsible for the societal applications of space, and also creates the educational movies and documentaries for ISRO programs. LEOS is located at Bangalore. It stands for Large Electro-Optics Systems. So LEOS provides the optical sensors, star sensors, the sun tracking sensors, and other optical systems for the satellites. Further, we have the IIRS. IIRS stands for Institute of Remote Sensing. This is an education institution which is responsible for capacity building of manpower both in the country and Asia Pacific region. So with this, we see that the organization of ISRO and the Department of Space, and subsequently all these centers and offices of ISRO DOS are located all over the country. Thus, it has got a national presence all over the country. Many of the centers are located for an advantage. For example, Sriharikota is located on the east coast to provide the launch services. And the Udaipur, which has the solar observatory, is located in the center of a lake, and the infrared observatory is located on top of a hill. You have the Port Blair, where you have the tracking stations, and so when launch vehicles lift off from Sriharikota, the tracking station provides the tracking data. We can see the manpower of ISRO DOS, which stands at 17,099 as per the 2021 annual report, and wherein VSAC center has got the maximum staff of 4,705, and Northeast SAC is the smallest center, having 46 staff. Now, coming to the women employees. So, the women employees constitute 19.5% of the total staff of 17,099, of which about 62% of them work in the scientific and technical, and the rest 38% work in the field of administrative. Now we will be seeing the applications of the remote sensing satellites. This is an image of India as seen by the Indian remote sensing satellite. So one can see the white, this is the snow region, and this is the desert region, which is reflecting the maximum solar light. You can see, one can see the red, which represents the forests in remote sensing, and where we have the darker shades of red, this is where the forest is dense and in large numbers. The trees are in large numbers, and we have a forest, large forest cover. Also in the northeast, you can see that this region has a lot of forest area, and this also is also an image of India from space, and it shows the physical the features of the country created from NRSC. And if we look at into the details, the northern half of our country, one can see the Himalayan range and the rivers Ganga and Brahmaputra, and one can see the other hilly regions, Vidya range, Satpura range, and one can see the desert area here in Rajasthan. And if we are looking down south, we can see the Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats, and the major rivers of the south, Godavari, Krishna, Pennar and Kaveri, and we can see the Bay of Bengal and the Arabian Sea, Lakshadweep Islands, and Andaman and Car-Nicobar Islands. And we have the vast Indian Ocean and our neighboring countries, Sri Lanka and Myanmar, erstwhile Burma. In this image, we can see the mighty Himalayas as seen by the resource satellites, where we can see the glaciers, which are the source of the two major rivers, Ganges and Brahmaputra. And one can see the Ganges river, Ganga, and Brahmaputra is the Brahmaputra, and the Sangam takes place in the neighboring country of Bangladesh. Then we have the delta region, the basin of these two rivers coming down, meeting in the Bay of Bengal. Here we have the Sundarbans, mangrove forests, and also the famous Royal Bengal tiger. Today is May 26th, and I have a photograph of INSAT 3D image, which gives us the cloud picture of the Asia sector. and one can see the clouds, where clouds are located, and also one can find out the moisture content in the clouds, based on which we can predict, the meteorological department can predict the rainfall and the monsoon, onset of monsoon, southwest monsoon. Another application, the oceanographic satellites is done from Indian National Center of Ocean Information Studies Services located at Hyderabad. It comes under the Ministry of Earth Sciences. One of the popular programs is Potential Fishing Zone Advisory, where one can see the coastline, the almost 6,500 kilometers plus coastline of our country is divided into various zones, and the information is shared in English as well as the Indian languages, Hindi, Telugu, and Tamil, Kannada, Odia, Bangla, Malayalam, Gujarati, Marathi. And if one has to choose the details from Maharashtra region, one can see that shows the distance in kilometers from the coastline, and also the depth where the fishes will be available from the various coastal districts and of Maharashtra. This advisory helps the Indian fishermen to go to distances of about 200 kilometers from the coastline, and they can also lay their nets at a specific depths to get the maximum catch maximum fish. Another societal benefit and applications of our Indian space program is telemedicine, wherein creates the communication network between super specialty hospitals located at New Delhi, at Mumbai, at Bengaluru, at Chennai, Kolkata, to provide medical care to remote locations in our country, the northeast and the Leh Ladakh region, and the Port Blair and Car Nicobar region. So this is a program to connect the super specialty hospitals to the rural and remote areas of our country. Thus, Isro continues to fulfill the dreams of its founder, Dr. Vikram Sarabhai, that we must be second to none in the applications of advanced technologies to solve problems of the man and society. So, this gives a small glimpse of what is the ISRO and the organization, its various centers, and also showcases some of the applications and how these applications help to solve the problems of the common man. And also from this data, it helps the government, the various ministries of the government, take informed decisions. Thus, the information being generated from the space activities is of immense value to the country. So viewers, thank you for watching this episode of Space for Youth Initiative. I for India, I for ISRO. So good evening and goodbye. Jai Hind.